Hello, friends.
Hi.
Andy and Cynthia in
El Paso. Hey.
in our friend's kitchen after a long, tiring day of
Door
knocking.
knocking.
Door knocking.
For Beto.
For Beto.
Yay.
So this is day 9, I think, or 10 for me in a row, which is good, and it really actually makes a difference.
It does. Yeah. My second day. Rolling.
You have a story that pops to your mind?
Let's see. I met a 60-year-old man today who was voting for the first time. So that was pretty exciting.
And you kind of had to stumble through it in Spanish.
I did my best in Spanish. Got to work on that.
I've been in like 10, 12, 14 different neighborhoods. Seems like a new place every time. We use a little app on the cell phone, which gives us names and addresses and whether they voted in 2016 and where their polling location is and and then we hand them a piece of paper. And in fact, many people do not know that they are eligible to vote or where to vote.
Right.
Or what they need to bring. One woman today was like, "Oh, I lost my voter card." I was like, "Well, you can bring your ID, just your driver's license." She's like, "Really? I can vote?"
Yeah. So sometimes I think, well, actually, one of the things that they have us do is to make a plan, an actual blow by blow. It's like, okay, what day are you going to go? What time are you going to go? Where are you going to be driving yourself, or do you need a ride?
Who are you going with?
Who are you going with? Get it really specific so that it puts that picture right in their mind.
Which I think is brilliant.
It's brilliant. I think
You're
it's a really
bringing
nice
people through that process.
campaign. Yeah.
And then you write the plan down, and then you put a sticker on it, and you tell them to put it on their refrigerator, and then you give it to them, and it's actually got a sticky side on it, so they actually have to put it somewhere.
Well done, huh?
Yeah, and a lot of people are really excited. A lot of young people who've never voted before. I mean, there's some
first generation voters.
First generation
got
voters.
Mothers and fathers that can't vote, and 20 and 21-year-olds are like, this is their first. So.
Yeah, and like when it was getting cold and dark, and I was so through, and I was like heading back to the car, and some, in the dark is Texas trucks. Everyone has big Texas trucks. And some teenagers were in it. They all shouted at me, "Go Beto!" So there's just a lot of energy and excitement, but there's also a lot of people. There's one guy who's like, "I'm not voting." I was like, "Is there anything I can do to convince you to vote?" And he's like, "Well, Trump didn't get me to vote, so I don't think so." I was like, "Have a nice evening." And then an old woman, Latino, everyone's Latino or Latina. I mean, like, I don't know, 1 out of 30 or 40 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a white guy, but one woman was like, "I am against abortion. I will be voting for Ted Cruz." And you're like, "Thank you," and you move on. And some people are like, "Who is Beto?" That not too much. Many people know that.
Yeah, not many. Yeah, we asked somebody on one of the first days when I was here if he was going to be supporting Beto, and he said, "Oh yeah, he helped my grandson with his papers."
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah."
What did you say? He just helped him
with his papers.
Like he didn't.
They weren't coming through. They were supposed to be coming through, and they weren't. And so they called.
To Beto's office.
They went to Beto's office. Yeah.
And
they took care of it.
Yeah, and he's going all over the state and these huge rallies. I saw an incredible speech, really incredible speech. It's pretty far left. To think about that actually winning in Texas is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's hard, and a lot of times people aren't home, and you're writing things, or you like have a script, and you don't remember to get their phone number or their email, or do you want to tell them about social pressure?
Yeah, not really.
Okay, I don't like that term either, but it's the last thing you're supposed to say is it's public, it's secret who you vote for, but it's public record whether you vote or not.
We're gonna know if you voted.
And we don't say that thing.
No, we don't. We don't even imply it.
But we don't imply it. And the campaign may contact you after the election to see what your experience is. And they are very okay, so there may be slight uncomfortableness doing that, and there is a slight uncomfortableness saying that, but they ask you to compare that to the uncomfortableness of seeing Ted Cruz as the Texas senator for the next 6 years. And apparently all their studies show that actually works to get people to the polls. And I think it's a reasonable compromise because, children are being torn from their mom's arms. And people need to hear that. So then there's also the, talking about your own experience. Mm. And I talk about my heart surgery. I say my insurance premiums are $600 or more per month with the Affordable Care Act. And I do use the term Obamacare. It's not my favorite term. But so they get what I'm talking about. They went down to $97 a month, and then I had a huge surgery that I'm alive today and walking around your neighborhood because of, so it really matters. So it's getting them to actually promise that they're going to do it.
It's great. Meaningful.
And it's repetitive. And it's wall-to-wall strip malls and housing tracts. But that's the way I guess a lot of people live in this country. But that's a little disheartening for me. The t-shirt helps them. People, they see the t-shirt and then just not being threatening to people at their door. And for me it's a lot of looking at my own garbage or my own, pre-programmed stuff, things that I expect will happen. I've got to, I see that this is a very old person. I'm like, well, I don't want to bother them, or they won't speak English, and then I'll feel embarrassed that I don't speak Spanish, or just the sort of exchange with an absolute stranger. I think it brings up stuff about being bullied when I was a kid, so it's a way to process through that. One of my students, Bruce Fessenden, said it's about stepping into the unknown, which can be cleansing. And I think in some ways the unknown can be cleansing, but it's hard personal work just to stay energized and to breathe and to not be afraid and to but everyone's so friendly here.
I know. It's just you have your fears, right? These fears of the unknown, and it's like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me, and they're gonna this whole bullying thing of they're gonna be mean to me somehow, and it's I think the meanest someone has been is no, we're not going there. Goodbye, Yeah. So what, Yeah. So all this stuff about we're so used to being comfortable in this society, We're just not used to putting ourselves in a position where we even get uncomfortable. So yeah, even though I've done some theater and done phone calling with scripts and stuff like that, when I knocked on my very first door by myself, I was like, okay, I'm nervous, but what's really the worst that can happen? It's not that bad. Especially because with the way they do it now, your lists are mostly people who pre-selected are probably going to vote for Beto already. So, folks, if you're thinking about doing this next time, you should really do it.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people have supported me by email, verbally, on Facebook, doing this, and I think each of you and people have also sent us some money to do this, so we're very grateful. Because we couldn't do it without that, for our rental car, for our plane tickets. But I want to say, and you can still make a donation if you want to, contact me. But I want to say, think about cutting away 7 days or 10 days 2 years from now. 10 days in 2020. Donald Trump could be on the ballot for 4 more years. And if you plan now, if you actually think about what state you might go to, which friend you might stay with. And I can tell you where you can find that time. Not watching a lot of news, not getting into useless arguments on Facebook. Each time you don't do that, just bank that time. For the next 2 years, you'll have a week, you'll have 10 days. You'll get support for your community. And we're going to need you. And, the future of life on Earth actually is at stake. So, it's meaningful, it's great, we've enjoyed it, it's been hard, but I met a lot of great people, and they're so grateful that we've come from California to do this, so think about doing it next time.
Onward.
Onward, yeah, and, I'll say one more thing, as people that have so much privilege, white, heterosexual, middle-class people in this country, I think it's an important part of, I'll say for me, my duty to look at the history of this country, to look at the present of this country. Women and people of color are being physically attacked, and in some cases shot and killed, and it's being encouraged by the political system. So we have to change it. So I want to thank you for your help, whatever way that can be.